Hello, I'm Ray Graham, welcoming you to Origins, with videos that tell you where stuff came from. In this episode, the origin of language. Imagine waking up tomorrow with no words. No way to say hello. No way to swear when you smash your thumb. No way to tell a story, or sing a song, or whisper a secret. That was the reality of our distant ancestors. For hundreds of thousands of years, humans lived without what we would recognize today as language. Our Creator gave us lips, a tongue, a throat, a nose, and vocal cords, knowing that we would one day need a language and the ability to speak it. The Creator was right. As time passed, grunts and gestures became the first sparks of speech. And from speech came stories, civilizations, alphabets, poetry, and eventually the voices you're hearing right now. Language is not just a tool, it's humanity's greatest invention and greatest inheritance. Today, we'll journey from caveman grunts to modern English, Chinese, Russian, Spanish, and Italian. And we'll see just how marvelous it is that we've been given such a gift. Scientists believe language may have begun at least 100,000 years ago. Early humans had to cooperate to survive. You couldn't hunt a mammoth alone. You needed a team. Gestures, grunts, and sounds became codes. A warning call for danger, a shout for food, a grunt to say yes or no. But then something magical happened. Sounds started standing for things, even when those things weren't there. That leap, turning sounds into symbols of meaning, was the birth of language. Imagine pointing at the stars, grunting something like, "Ah!" And suddenly your tribe understands you mean sky. That was the beginning of abstract thought. Some modern African languages still use clicks, which many researchers believe could be echoes of humanity's earliest speech. When you hear a click language speaker today, you may be listening to a sound system tens of thousands of years old. With words came stories.
Once upon a time, in a land very far away, there lived a giant.
Around campfires, hunters didn't just say, "I killed a deer." They stretched it out. The deer was huge. It ran fast. But I was faster. With stories came drama, laughter, exaggeration, and culture. This is where human identity began. Think about it. Without language, you can't have myths, heroes, or histories. You can't pass knowledge down from one generation to the next.
Once upon a time,
Stories made us human. Now backtrack to about 5,000 years ago. Human memory could only stretch so far. Farmers needed to track harvests. Rulers needed to record taxes. Merchants needed receipts. So writing was invented. The Sumerians pressed wedge-shaped marks into clay tablets, cuneiform. The Egyptians carved hieroglyphics into stone. Writing was humanity's first external hard drive. But writing didn't just store data. It created new worlds. Suddenly, laws could be fixed. Poems could outlive poets. And knowledge could be passed far beyond the memory of a single person. One of the earliest known written recipes we've discovered is for beer.
Next, carefully measure 2 bushels of barley.
Of all the things to carve into clay, our ancestors chose beer.
almost there.
Priorities haven't changed much, have they? Now let's pause and marvel. The alphabet. Who thought up this miracle of symbols we call letters? The first true alphabet appeared around 3,500 years ago in the Middle East. It was inspired by Egyptian hieroglyphs, but stripped down into a simple code of about 24 symbols. Instead of needing thousands of characters like in Chinese, you could write anything with just a few letters. This was revolutionary. It meant anyone could learn to write, not just trained scribes. The Phoenicians spread the alphabet across the Mediterranean. The Greeks borrowed it and added vowels. The Romans borrowed it from the Greeks, shaped it further, and gave us the Latin alphabet, the very one you're hearing right now. Every time you look at the letters A, B, C, you are staring at 3,000-year-old design that has outlasted empires. Here's a question you might never have thought to ask. Who decided we should capitalize the first letter of a sentence? Who came up with punctuation? The Romans wrote everything in all caps with no spaces. Imagine trying to read, "The Rome Empire was great," without any spaces between the words. Not easy. It wasn't until the Middle Ages that monks copying manuscripts began adding little marks to help them breathe while reading. A dot for a pause, a slash for a break. Over the centuries, these dots and dashes evolved into our commas, periods, and question marks. As for capitalization, that's a European invention from around the Renaissance. Scribes and printers began using a bigger letter at the start of a sentence to signal a fresh idea. It was a visual aid that stuck. So the next time you type a capital letter, remember you're using a medieval reading trick that became universal. Among the world's languages, Chinese stands out as the oldest still in use. Its earliest characters were scratched into oracle bones 3,000 years ago to ask the gods for guidance. Remarkably, modern readers can still make sense of those ancient texts. Chinese never adopted an alphabet. Instead, it kept its character system, tens of thousands of symbols, each with layers of meaning. That's part of why Chinese culture has such continuity. The writing system itself is a living bridge to the past. One emperor famously standardized the script by burning rival writings and enforcing one unified system. Harsh? Yes, but it ensured that for over 2 millennia, the written word remained a bond across China's vast lands.
E pluribus unum!
While China developed continuity, Europe embraced transformation.
E pluribus
The
unum!
Romans spread Latin wherever they marched. But when Rome fell, its language splintered. Local dialects grew into new tongues: Spanish, Italian, French, Portuguese, Romanian. Spanish was shaped by Arabic after centuries of Muslim presence in Iberia. Words like almohada, the word for pillow, and azúcar, the word for sugar, are Arabic gifts to Spanish. Italian, by contrast, remained closest to Latin, especially in its sound and rhythm, perfect for the soaring beauty of opera. And then came Columbus. With him, Spanish leaped across the ocean, exploding into the Americas. Today, nearly 500 million people speak Spanish natively, making it one of the most widespread languages on Earth. Now we ride east to the Slavic world. Russia. Like its Slavic cousins, Russia needed a writing system. Enter 2 Byzantine monks. Cyril and Methodius, in the 9th century, created the Cyrillic alphabet, designed to capture the sounds of Slavic speech, so the Bible could be translated. From those humble missionary beginnings, Cyrillic became the script of an empire. Today, Russian is the largest Slavic language, spoken across 11 time zones. Russian is one of only 2 official languages of space. Astronauts on the International Space Station must learn it.
Это новый протокол для системы жизнеобеспечения.
Поняла, спасибо.
And then there's English, the wildest patchwork quilt of a language. Born from Germanic tribal speech, reshaped by Viking invasions, and utterly transformed by the Norman conquest in 1066. English is a linguistic thief. It steals words shamelessly. Latin, French, Greek, Hindi, Spanish, you name it. Shakespeare stretched English further than anyone. He invented over 1,700 words, from bedroom to lonely to swagger. Later, English sailed with explorers and colonists until it became the language of business, science, diplomacy, movies, and the internet, and air traffic control. Today, 1.5 billion people speak English in some form, making it the closest thing to a global language humanity has ever seen. But behind the words we speak every day lie some remarkable stories and surprising facts. There are about 7,000 languages spoken around the world today. Some, like Mandarin Chinese, have nearly 1 billion native speakers, while others are spoken by only a handful of people. But languages are fragile. On average, one language disappears every 2 weeks, usually when the last elderly speaker dies. When that happens, an entire worldview vanishes. Not all languages evolve naturally. Some were invented, like Esperanto, designed as a universal language of peace, or Klingon, created for science fiction, but adopted by real communities of fans. English is often said to have the largest vocabulary, with more than 1 million words. At the other extreme, the constructed language Toki-Pona uses just 120 root words, relying on simplicity and creativity. And sometimes a single word in one language has no exact translation in another. The German word Schadenfreude, for example, describes joy at someone else's misfortune, a concept English borrows but cannot quite capture on its own. And then there are words that seem to go on forever. English boasts one of the longest words, Neumann ultramicroscopic volcanic coniosis. That's a lung disease caused by inhaling fine volcanic dust. Some languages assign gender to every noun. In Spanish, sun is masculine, while in German, sun is feminine. English largely abandoned the system centuries ago. Others don't even bother with a future tense. In Chinese, context alone tells you whether something happened yesterday or will happen tomorrow. The question mark may have started as a shorthand for the Latin word questico, while the exclamation point grew from the word io, Latin for joy. Not all languages are spoken. On the island of La Gomera in Spain, people still use a whistled language to carry words across deep valleys. Wordplay also varies across cultures. English loves palindromes like madam. In Mandarin Chinese, the same sound can mean very different things depending on tone. The syllable ma can mean mother, horse, hemp, or to scold. And when it comes to speed, Japanese and Spanish are spoken among the fastest.
The Spanish language sounds very fast to people who don't speak Spanish.
With a rapid-fire delivery of syllables, German and Mandarin, though slower, pack more information into each word. Step back for a moment and marvel. Language is invisible, weightless, and yet it moves mountains. Entire civilizations rise and fall on the power of words. A speech can spark a revolution, A poem can heal a broken heart. A single word, love, or hope, or freedom, can change history. And the fact that we ordinary humans inherit this gift for free, that is nothing short of miraculous. Your ability to listen to these words and make sense of them is the product of countless generations, from cavemen to scribes, to poets, to programmers. What about tomorrow? Technology is reshaping speech. Translation apps can make strangers understand each other instantly. Artificial intelligence is learning to mimic human voices.
Hi, my name is Artificial Intelligence.
Some believe English or Chinese will dominate. Others think a new digital dialect will emerge. But no matter how far we advance, language will evolve with us. New slang, new memes, new emojis, proof that creativity never ends. In fact, you could say emojis are humanity's newest writing system, echoing back to the pictographs of our ancestors. So, from campfire grunts to Shakespearean sonnets, from oracle bones to text messages, language is the golden thread that binds humanity together. Every time you say hello, or hola, or ni hao,
Hello. Ni hao. Hola. Ni hao.
you're speaking with the voices of your ancestors. It is marvelous, it is miraculous, and it is ours. Language is the greatest story humanity ever told. And we're still writing it. Watch for the next episode of Origins on YouTube.